Welcome back to the channel. It's great to have you here again. To all our returning subscribers, thank you for your continuous support. You're the reason this community keeps growing, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If you're new here, the latest Trends of Education channel is focused on creating content around topics related to curriculum, leadership, teaching for effective learning, maximizing students' progress and attainment, and the usage of AI tools in today's educational insights. So if there's your vibe, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update, especially our weekly videos posted every Thursday on the channel. Now let's jump into today's video. It's going to be a good one indeed. The topic for today is the ethical usage of AI tools. In a world where artificial intelligence is transforming how we live, work, and learn, the classroom is no exception. As AI tools become increasingly accessible to students of all ages, the way we teach and learn must evolve, but it has to be ethically and responsibly. This video explores the critical need for clear academic honesty policies, the guiding role of teachers, and the shared responsibility of students in navigating AI. We'll examine the benefits and challenges of AI use across age groups, the importance of awareness among parents and educators, and how when used wisely, these tools can unlock powerful, personalized learning experiences. Let's discover how we can shape a future where AI empowers education without compromising integrity. In today's rapidly evolving digital world, artificial intelligence is no longer a distant concept. It's already reshaping how we learn, communicate, and solve problems. As AI tools enter our classrooms, homes, and study spaces, educators, students, and families are being presented with new opportunities and new responsibilities as well. But with these powerful tools comes an essential question: how do we use AI ethically in education? This video dives deep into the ethical usage of AI tools in academic settings. We begin with a crucial foundation: academic honesty policy. Schools and educational institutions must set clear guidelines to define what constitutes fair and responsible use of AI. Just as plagiarism policies evolved in the digital age, we now need thoughtful frameworks that recognize AI as a learning aid, not a shortcut. Teachers play a vital role in this shift. More than just instructors, they are mentors and digital guides. They must help students understand not just how to use AI tools, but why and when to use them appropriately. This includes modeling ethical behavior, encouraging critical thinking, and fostering digital literacy across subjects. At the heart of this change lies the student responsibility. Students must be taught to see AI not as a tool to do the thinking for them, but as a support system to deepen understanding and creativity. Ethical use means transparency, accountability, and knowing the difference between assistance and academic dishonesty. It's also important to understand that AI tools affect students differently based on age and developmental stages. For younger learners, AI might help reinforce fundamental skills through games and interactive feedback. For older students, it could support research, writing, and problem solving. But at every level, the risks must be addressed with age appropriate strategies. That's why we must not only prepare students and teachers, but also encourage parents. Hosting awareness sessions, sharing practical guidelines, and creating open channels of communication can empower families to support ethical AI use at home as well as in school. When these efforts come together, the positive impact of AI in education becomes clear. From personalized learning paths to instant feedback, AI has the potential to adapt to each student's needs, making learning more inclusive, responsive, and effective. But this transformation must be built on a fundamental base of trust, ethics, and shared responsibility. Join us as we explore how schools, teachers, students, and families can navigate this exciting new era, ensuring that AI tools enhance learning while preserving the values that education is built on. Let's start first with the academic honesty policy. As artificial intelligence tools become increasingly integrated into education, from text generation to personalized learning support, the ethical landscape of academic work is being fundamentally reshaped. Traditional academic honesty policies designed for an era of textbooks and online search engine are no longer sufficient. Educational institutions now face the urgent task of redefining academic integrity in the context of AI assisted learning and assessment. So, what are the main essential sections for the academic honesty policy, and why is it so important for us to structure? Now we're going to focus on its importance, and shortly we will touch base on the main sections of that academic honesty policy. So, first of all, academic honesty policy is needed to set clearly the boundaries of acceptable AI use. AI tools like ChatGPT and AI based research assistants can aid students in writing, summarizing, problem solving, and even coding. While these tools can enhance learning, they also blur the lines between supporting learning and completing work on behalf of the student. So, without clear guidelines, students may unintentionally engage in academic misconduct, believing they are using tools appropriately. So, creating a policy which help identify the constitutes and the acceptable boundaries of AI will allow students to use the AI tools in a responsible and effective manner. The second importance for the academic honesty policy is promoting transparency and accountability. Academic honesty policies must encourage transparency in students' work, which might include requiring students to disclose when and how they've used AI tools, encouraging educators to design assignments that assess process and understanding, not just final product. So, by embedding accountability into policy, institutions help foster a culture of integrity and reflection rather than punishment alone. The third importance, which is preventing misuse and over-reliance. Without guidance, students may begin to over-rely on AI, bypassing the development of critical thinking, problem solving, and original writing skills. So, schools and educational institutions must educate students about the limitations and biases of AI, making it clear that reliance on AI without understanding can be just as damaging as cheating. Updates the policies which might include an emphasis on the importance of human reasoning in the academic work. Also, we can highlight the risks of misinformation content from the AI tools. The fourth importance, which is protecting the equity and fairness. Not all students have equal access to advanced AI tools, which raises serious questions about fairness in assessment. An academic honesty policy tailored to AI should include number one, the minimum advantage or disadvantage of the tools of AI assessed, ensuring consistent standards across subjects, courses, and departments. By doing so, institutions ensure that AI use does not widen achievement gaps or create unequal academic environments. The fifth point, which is supporting educators in ethical implementation. Teachers and academic staff need institutional support to understand how AI is being used by students and detect the unethical use when it occurs. In addition, teachers they need guidance and support to design AI awareness assessments that reduce opportunities for misuse. So, a well crafted policy provides a framework for training educators, ensuring consistent expectations and enforcement across the board. The last significant point, which urges all schools and educational institutions to develop the academic honesty policy, is fostering digital citizenship and future readiness. I said it before in previous videos, I'll repeat it now. AI is part of our presence and it will definitely be part of our future. So ultimately, academic honesty policies should not focus on compliance. They should aim to develop students' ethical reasoning in a world where AI will be a constant companion in higher education and the workforce. Students must learn how to use AI ethically and responsibly when it enhances learning and when it undermines it. Academic, academic honesty policies should include educational components such as workshops, curriculum integration, and student led discussions on digital ethics. So, in short, the development of academic honesty policies around AI use is no longer optional, it is essential. These policies will serve as the moral compass that guides institutions, educators, and students through the ethical complexities of AI enhanced learning. With clarity, consistency, and collaboration, educational institutions can ensure that AI becomes a tool for empowerment and growth, not a shortcut to undeserved success. Let's now look at the main components of an academic honesty policy framework. First of all, we have to make sure that the policy outlines the specific expectations for the ethical usage of artificial intelligence tools by students in the academic context. So we need to bluntly state the aim of the policy framework, which is to uphold academic integrity, promote responsible AI literacy, and ensure fair and equitable use of emerging technologies in learning and assessment. The second point, which is determining the scope of the application of the policy. When we want to develop the policy framework, we have to keep in mind that we are putting these boundaries for students and academic staff within our institution. So we have to touch base on the coursework, whether be it assignments, projects, essays, or lab reports. We need to touch base on the exams and assessments, on research activities, and the most important, which is the use of AI tools and digital learning platforms. Whatever activities are being happening inside your institution, you must touch base on that in light of the AI tools and their ethical usage. So by then, the stakeholders within your school community, they can find a part which is relevant to their scope of work when they are reading it. So you need to address all the different layers of jobs and compositions within your school community in order to make sure that everybody understands the scope of the policy within the scope of their own work. The third point, which is defining the AI tools and their usage. For the purpose of this policy, AI tools should be clearly defined as the software or platforms that generate or assist with content using machine learning. This definition should be reflected in the tools that are being used or expected to be used within that academic institution or a school. So you need to define the AI tools related to text generators. So we're talking here about ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. What is it that you are expecting people to use when they want to generate text? When we are going to talk about grammar and writing aids, what are the tools that you are using? Like, for example, the Quillbot. When we're talking about code assistants, we're talking about Copilot, we are talking about Code Whisperer, we're talking about GitHub. Which one are you using? When we're talking about the AI based tutoring or problem solvers, we're talking about Socratic, we're talking about Photomath or any other tool. So you need to make sure that any tool which is being used in the predictive algorithms to complete academic tasks are being defined with the right boundaries of how and to what extent each stakeholder is expected to use it. The fourth point, which is explaining the acceptable use guidelines. First of all, we need to make sure that we allow students to use it, permitting AI use for grammar and spelling checks, brainstorming or outlining ideas, learning support like tutoring or explaining tools, research assistance with proper human verification, or coding suggestions with code understanding and documentation. Also, we have to define the unacceptable AI use. unless explicitly allowed, such as talking about the submitting AI generating content as original work, like creating the whole essays or codes or reports using ChatGPT or Gemini and submitting them as if they are original work. The second unacceptable use might be using AI to answer exam questions or complete the take home assessments. The third one might be generating citations or data without fact checking. The fourth one might be using AI to impersonate others or misrepresent the academic contributions. So you have to include sections which clearly define the acceptable and the unacceptable. And here I highly recommend that you include in this section the subject specific boundaries, because if we're talking about subjects such as literature and language arts, then we have a lot to speak about. And we have to speak about the acceptable percentage if the text is originated by AI, etc. While when we're talking about sciences, there might be other boundaries that we need to talk about. So clarity in creating sections and subsections is needed. So by then we can explain it to the users and we can have clear understanding without leaving gray boundaries which might be misunderstood by students, teachers, or the academic staff. The fifth one, which is talking here about the responsibilities of students in all tasks. We have to make sure that we educate our students and we dedicate like the first week of school just to talk about AI, about the future of learning in light of AI tools and the ethical and responsible usage of AI tools in details, where specific examples are being given. So by then students, they know their responsibility about using AI ethically, about understanding the assignment requirements and ask for clarification when it comes to their completion, avoid using the AI as a substitute for original thinking, and disclose AI use honestly and completely. We have to make sure that students know their responsibility against that. You can add more. You can specify exactly the usage of AI when it comes to assignments versus assessments. You can specifically speak about using it for presentation, creating those kind of visual posters. Take it in a detailed manner so by then students they understand clearly their responsibilities when it comes to the academic honesty usage of AI tools. Moving forward to the sixth point, which is the consequences of misusage. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's not about punishment. It's about educating. It's about raising awareness. It's about making sure that our students are making the best out of it without hurting themselves. Over reliance on AI destroys the thinking process of students because they will be so attached to getting the answers quickly and putting it down when they are completing their work. So their critical thinking, problem solving skills will not be enhanced at all. On the contrary, they'll be using those skills. So when we talk about consequences of misusage, we're talking about the violations of this policy, which should be treated as breaches of academic honesty. And clear results should be outlined in this section, such as grade penalties or reassessment, such as formal academic misconduct proceedings, such as suspension or expulsion in serve or repeated cases, So the severity of the consequence should depend on the nature, extent, and intent of the misuse, as well as whether it is a first time or repeated offense. So make sure that you have it clear. So by then, students, they know that if they don't adhere to the academic honesty policies, then the consequences will follow. Last but not least, which is support and education. We need to make sure that all stakeholders are well informed about AI literacy. And I call it AI literacy because there are a lot out there to learn, and every day there is something new. So I cannot say that if we're talking about ChatGPT 2 years back, it's the same like today. We have heard recently that it is refusing the stop commendations coming from people who created it. So now it's out of control when it's being asked to pause or stop. So we have new things coming every day, and our students should be highly educated about it. Our stakeholders, our parents. So we need to provide the guidelines for the support and education process. I highly recommend creating an e-newsletter where we provide our school community with the monthly insights about the latest trends in AI, because this will help them to stay up to date and not to be surprised by some kind of new things happening without them knowing about it. We need to include AI ethics in the digital citizenship definition. We need to include the AI ethics in the academic skills courses. And here, when I talk about digital citizenship, I need to pause because nowadays we go to schools, we look at their digital citizenship definition, and there is no indication whatsoever to AI. Digital citizenship is critical aspect where AI should be embedded. Otherwise, if we're not highlighting on how it is in it, then we don't have that kind of forward thinking. Also, we need to provide access to guidelines, to frequently asked questions and examples of ethical use. When I talk about AI and the presence of AI tools, I do remember the phase of the COVID-19 pandemic, where we kept saying to each other, we are all in it together. So we're all learning. The same is for AI. Whether you are a teacher, a well experienced educator who has been there for 20 years, or a student or a parent, this is new for everyone. So we need to make sure that we have proper communication channels and support systems. So by then everybody is informed and everyone is aware of their scope of responsibility in line of the presence of the tools. More sections can be definitely added for the framework, depending on the school, on the structure of the school, on the organizational system. We can talk about sections related to disclosure and documentation. We can include a section which is related to the review and policy updates. We can keep maybe kind of forms like example disclosure statement template. We can add a lot, but the main major things which we should not ignore are the 7 bullets that we extensively spoke about here. Moving forward, I would like to focus on the teacher's role in guiding the ethical AI use. When we are talking about teachers' role in supporting students to use AI tools ethically, we're talking about the critical pillar of promoting responsible and informed AI use in education. As AI tools become commonplace in classrooms, the role of educators are evolving beyond delivering content. Teachers are no longer just facilitators of knowledge, as we all know. They're now essential mentors in digital ethics and critical AI usage. For students to use AI tools ethically and effectively, we need to see teachers defining and outlining the boundaries and modeling the behavior for students. That takes me to the first point where I do consider teachers as the digital ethics mentors. AI tools can support learning, but they also introduce complex questions raised from students, such as, is it okay to use AI to write part of my essay? Can AI help solve a math problem if I don't understand it? Students often don't know the answers to these questions, and that's where teachers come in. So, educational institutions must empower teachers to become digital ethics mentors, helping students to understand what constitutes ethical and unethical AI use, reflect on their academic responsibilities, and recognize the risks of over reliance on AI. This part is essential and necessary because without proactive guidance, students may inadvertently use AI unethically or miss opportunities to learn from its proper application. The second point, which is having teachers as AI literacy leaders. Teachers should be prepared to help students understand how AI tools work. So, if they want to help students to understand that, they should be themselves confident of using it and utilizing it to support the teaching for effective learning. So, teachers should be leading the awareness at students' level by helping them to understand the limitation of AI tools, the difference between generative and assistive AI, and how to critically evaluate AI generated content. Teachers will become AI literate, first of all, by attending professional development sessions focused on the tools that they are utilizing. Second part, which will help them to become leaders in AI literacy, is assessing the AI tools by trying it themselves and signing up for it to see all the features, all the services provided, the different kind of services that it will provide, the sandbox environments, everything that is related to the tool. Again, this is something that I keep saying in all workshops. If you do not try the AI tool yourself, you will not be able to master it. Regardless of how many videos we see about different tools, such as the Tommy tool, such as CurryPod, such as the Magic School AI, etc. If we don't try it ourselves, we will not be able to speak about it confidently. So even if you attend the workshop, you need to generate your own account, create it, and try it yourself. Then you will be able to talk about it to your students to help them and educate them. Last but not least, here, we need to make sure that the pedagogical aspects of the teaching is integrating the AI in an ethical manner. I'll give an example here. When a teacher is generating her PowerPoint and the lesson explanation video using AI, you're setting the example for your students. So when you are displaying it with all the errors without checking and validating the content, your students are not being literate enough and they will not understand the importance of checking, validating, differentiating when it comes to generative versus assistive AI. Teachers cannot support what they do not understand. And this is a golden rule. So, as a teacher, you need to understand it properly for you to be able to support your students with it. Building AI literacy among teachers ensures that they can guide students with confidence and authority. The third point, which is looking at our teachers as policy interpreters and enforcers. While institutions can draft very nice and comprehensive academic honesty policies, it's teachers who bring these policies to life in day-to-day classroom activities. Their role includes clarifying what's allowed in specific assignments, modeling acceptable use in classroom activities, monitoring and addressing suspected misuse, encouraging students to disclose their AI use transparently. Teachers should be trained to interpret policy consistently and apply it fairly across subjects with different expectations, across grade levels with varying maturity and comprehension. Having teachers as policy interpreters and enforcers will allow us to minimize the inconsistent expectations between teachers and students. Unified, well communicated guideline will ensure fairness and trust. The fourth point, which is teachers as assignment designers for ethical AI use. A significant challenge of AI in education is that traditional assessments can easily be completed by AI tools. Teachers must be equipped to design AI resilient assessments that prioritize process over product. And we have on this channel a very lengthy video which is focused on the performance-based assessments and assignments. Because if we keep asking students to recite information and to solve traditional problems, AI can do it easily for them, and definitely they will take that easy route. So we have to shift our mindset from the traditional assignments to the performance-based assignments. You can check on this channel, find the video, and explore the different examples which were explained in details for all students in different phases and different age groups. Also, teachers must be equipped to encourage metacognitive tasks such as reflection, journaling on tool usage. And with regards to reflection, we have two videos also posted about the Cobb's reflective cycle and about the Gibbs reflective cycle. Reflection is important because it allows us to understand where our students are, what is the depth of their thinking process, and what they are looking forward to have. So by then, we can design the best fit teaching and learning experience for them. Talking about teachers as assessment designers and assignment designers, we need to make sure that they understand that when they construct the assignment, they are keeping in mind how the use of AI will help the students as a co-learning tool rather than just a restriction. Because whether we like it or not, AI is there. So we have to create a shared responsibility of AI-aware assignments, encouraging interdisciplinary collaboration on assessment design, and providing tools for detecting and analyzing AI usage. Good design for assignments will reduce the temptation to cheat and make AI an educational ally rather than a threat. And this is what we are all aiming for. The fifth point, which is looking at teachers or empowering teachers as communicators with parents and stakeholders. The video which was posted last week was focused on digital parenting. So as parents raise concerns about AI use, teachers become the frontline communicators. Teachers need to explain the school AI policies in accessible language to parents, offer reassurance about AI's role in education, and encourage families to support ethical digital habits at home. Institutions must support this role by offering scripts, talking points, and frequently asked questions for teachers to guide parents. Also, the school should host AI awareness sessions with teacher participation for parents. In addition, we need to build proper communication bridges between school and home. Still, we are seeing until today parents restricting their kids from using AI, which deprive the student the right to access the information which is available for their peers and for their colleagues. What we need to do, we need to make sure that our parents are well educated and knowledgeable about the importance of using AI, but keeping it in an ethical context. The video, which was posted last week, is speaking extensively about the digital parenting, and it has a lot of ideas where teachers and school community can benefit from. So to wrap this up about communicators with parents, teachers can help build a shared understanding across school communities, and they can foster collaboration instead of having fear from AI. Last but not least, teachers as role models for ethical technology use. Teachers must model ethical behavior in their own use of AI, showing students how to acknowledge AI help in lesson planning or content creation, when to rely on AI and when to lean on human judgment, how to use AI to improve rather than replace their own thinking. In one of my recent workshops about the ethical usage of AI, A teacher told me that she generated her lesson PowerPoint using AI, and she was displaying it to students, showing them that when she doesn't check after the video is generated, then errors do exist, and she was asking them to spot those errors, to teach them a lesson that we need as human to validate the data before we use it when we are relying on AI tools. And this is brilliant. So you need to model it because, as we know, students imitate what they see. So teachers who use AI ethically demonstrate that technology should be used with responsibility, humility, and critical thinking. To sum this up, we need to make sure that we all subscribe to the concept that teachers are the ethical backbone of AI integration in education. If we expect students to use AI tools responsibly, we must first equip and support teachers to lead the way. Developing the teacher's role in ethical AI usage is not just an institutional priority, it's a moral imperative for future ready learning. So, how can we support teachers? First of all, we need to make sure that we create a proper program which will include workshops, PD sessions, institutional onboarding, sending teachers abroad, creating a teacher training toolkit to make sure that we have enough of material and content where teachers can refer to when they want to understand the AI and its usage in education. We have to make sure that we provide them with the facts rather than the fiction about the AI myth. We need to provide them examples of AI tools and their boundaries and their scope of work. We need to make sure that we provide them with the strengths and limitations of all the AI tools being in hand. We should not give teachers the impression that AI can replace teaching, because by no means it will. We need to make sure that we empower teachers to help them become literate, to help them become confident and knowledgeable about the AI tools, which will help them guide and support students to use AI to brainstorm ethically during their learning process. The second point, which is policy awareness and application. Not because we have a policy, we can ensure a proper implementation. If we generate a policy and it is well structured, covering all the points that we spoke about at the beginning of the video, this is good. Now we have to move to the second step, which is the implementation. The implementation should focus on helping teachers to understand the policy and the academic honesty guidelines related to AI usage. How we can do that? First of all, by sharing the policy with the teachers and providing them all the details related to it, such as referencing why you have considered this as a misusage. What was your reference? What was your evidence? What is it that you have spoken about and you got the information from? Because We need to keep in mind when giving a document to a teacher, we're giving it to a knowledgeable educator who would like to explore more, to get to the roots of it, and to understand its different dimensions. So we need to make sure that we share with the teachers the policy and what was behind that policy. Also, we have to make sure that all the terms are clearly defined. So if in the policy there is something called unauthorized assistance or original work or disclosure, what does that mean? Definitions exist, we all know them, but what does it mean in the context of that school for the students and for the community? We should make sure that we provide teachers with the age appropriate expectations related to the policy, because if I am a teacher teaching the early childhood, then my expectations are different than the high school teacher. We have to make sure that we work in groups with teachers to analyze real life classroom scenarios. For example, open a brainstorming discussion with teachers to discuss what would be the proper decision if a student uses ChatGPT to write an essay without telling the teacher, or if a student asks if it's okay to use an AI tool to solve a math problem, what should be the response? Or if a student cites AI as a source, is this ethical? So we need to discuss the ethical line and how would teachers respond to it. So by then teachers can feel confident and all teachers across all the divisions of the school are responding in the same manner. So there is a consistent application of the policy. The third practice which can support teachers is designing AI resilient and AI enhanced assignments. We need to start thinking of the future of assignments and learning opportunities in light of the AI. So we have to make sure that we touch base with teachers on the design principles. And here we can talk extensively about examples being given that relates to each one of the subjects differently. That's why sometimes I say that this part by itself is an extensive workshop to provide teachers with the principles of designing assignments that prioritize process over product, that ask for student reasoning, not just answers, that include AI use reflection prompts rather than staying away from the whole concept and pretending that it was not part of it. We need to share with the teachers sample assignment prompts so by then they can speak with their students and they can create it with confidence, setting all the different kind of restrictions. Last but not least, which is modeling ethical AI use as educators. Likewise, when we said that teachers are role models for students, the school administration is a role model for the teachers and for the whole community. So when a school administration creates the school improvement using AI tools and they provide it for teachers as if it is their school improvement plan, then they are just setting the wrong kind of model for the teachers. So best practices for teachers should include transparency in the usage of AI for lesson planning, for content generation, for curriculum mapping design, for improvement plan creation, even for data analysis, where we know now a lot of people are using AI tools to generate the data analysis of external benchmark assessment. So why not to share with teachers what you are doing as a school administration. Show examples of ethical tool usage. Discuss the ethical dilemmas openly with the teachers. Make sure that teachers they have enough examples of the usage of AI responsibly in planning and professional work. Also, we can have specific ethical decision making best practices when talking about AI for teachers. We can have a proper kind of reflection mechanism where we ask teachers to come and reflect on the usage of AI in the classroom. What worked, what didn't work, what are the new things that they're discovering. So, our support for teachers should come from us and from them as well for us to be able to continue to support, to build that kind of level of reflection and mentoring. So, as a conclusion, teachers are on the front line of preparing our students for a future where AI is everywhere, with clear guidelines, smart pedagogies, and the focus on ethical citizenship. You can turn AI from a challenge into a powerful ally in the learning journey. Let's now move a little bit to talk about students and their responsibility in the ethical AI usage. As artificial intelligence tools become embedded in daily learning, from writing support to problem solving and personalized feedback, students must be empowered to take personal responsibility for using these technologies ethically. Educational institutions play a critical role in shaping student behavior, mindset, and decision making when interacting with AI. This responsibility is not optional. It is central to academic honesty and integrity and to digital citizenship in our current century. So, first of all, we have to look at students as the primary users and decision makers. Students now have unprecedented access to AI tools outside of the classroom. Unlike calculators or spell checkers, modern AI platforms can generate content, complete tasks, or simulate reasoning. This makes students not just users, but decision makers in how AI is applied in their work. Institutions must help students, first of all, to recognize when AI supports learning versus when it replaces effort, take ownership of what they submit, ensuring it's truly their understanding, understand the implications of dishonest or over reliant use. So, by then, students make daily choices with AI. We need to create that sense of ethical responsibility in our students because what we are providing access for them inside the school might be only a small part of what they have access to outside of the classroom. Students might discover tools that we as educators haven't heard about them. So we need to make sure to create that kind of skill, which is the decision making and ethical responsibility when we are teaching our students so by then they can take responsible decisions daily with the AI tools. The second one, which is responsibility about promoting academic integrity. AI use challenges traditional definitions of plagiarism and originality. Copying content from a peer or website is easy to identify. But what about using AI to rephrase ideas or generate an essay draft? To uphold academic integrity in the AI era, institutions must teach students that integrity means being honest about how work is created. We need to make sure that our students they understand that submitting AI generated work without disclosure is misrepresentation of their identity and their thinking. We need to make sure that we are helping our students to reflect and to ask when they are using the tools and they are faced with challenges. This kind of open conversation about intent, effort, and authenticity will enable us to help and support and empower. The third point, which is the need for critical thinking and AI literacy. Many students see AI tools as neutral or even infallible. However, AI can produce biased, inaccurate, or outdated information, which mislead if not cross-checked or contextualized. So, by developing student responsibility, students equip learners to evaluate AI output critically, cross verify facts and sources, and use AI as a starting point, not an end point. We need to make sure to raise our students' awareness to become responsible AI users. And this can only happen when they will begin to become digital literate, knowing how to understand the benefits of AI and the limitations as well. The fourth point, which is talking about the ethical responsibility, supports the equity and fairness. Students must understand that responsible AI use affects the entire learning community. Because if one student uses AI to complete work unfairly, it undermines classmates who followed the rules. It de-elevates the integrity of assignments and disrupts teachers' trust and grading validity. Developing a shared culture of student responsibility will ensure a level playing field for all students, having a greater peer accountability and ethical peer norms, which results in more accurate assignments of actual understanding. The fifth point, which is looking at our students as partners in policy and practice. When students are involved in shaping AI use norms, they better understand the rationale behind the rules and they're more likely to follow them. And also, they can offer feedback on what ethical AI use looks like in real life because our students are more advanced than us since they are high tech. Last but not least, which is teaching responsibility, builds lifelong digital ethics. Students today are future professionals, creators, and citizens. So, by building AI responsibility into the education system, We're preparing our students to use AI ethically in higher education and the workforce, to respect data privacy and intellectual property, and to think critically about automation, bias, and human agency. Let's look now at the role of the institutional uh, systems and schools. And what is their role to develop student responsibility? We will talk about four major themes here. To develop student responsibility, institutions must integrate ethical AI use into the curriculum. This can only happen when we include digital ethics and AI literacy in technology, language, and social studies subject. Also, we can integrate the ethical AI use by requiring reflection on tool use as part of assignments. And there are so many templates posted on the channel which can help guide the institutions about the reflection process. Second one, promote student-led accountability. We need to encourage our students to sign academic honesty declarations, and we have to develop student-led campaigns on fair AI usage. The third point, which is establish clear student-friendly guidelines. Providing examples of acceptable and unacceptable AI usage will help the students to understand the policy from their own angle. Keep in mind that when we develop the academic honesty policy framework, we're talking to the whole school community. But how does it look like in the early childhood section? What does it mean for the elementary student? How can a middle school student apply it? And how will a high school student model it when they start their postgraduate studies? So we have to make sure that we develop a user-friendly language which will include practical AI use checklists or flowcharts. So by then, our students will understand their responsibility when it comes to AI. Last but not least, which is creating safe spaces for discussion. Students, they need to have an open forum or advisory session where they can ask questions without fear, where they can discuss the gray areas rather than looking only at punishments because of misusage from a scared point of view. So, in the age of AI, student responsibility is the cornerstone of ethical technology use. Educational institutions must actively cultivate this responsibility, not through punishment alone, but through education, empowerment, and trust. When students are equipped to think critically and act ethically with AI, we do not just improve academic outcomes, we shape a more thoughtful, responsible generation of learners and leaders. In the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about the advantages and disadvantages of the usage of AI in schools, and I will start with the early childhood going up to the high school. As we all know, every and each single tool will have its advantages and definitely its disadvantages, or if we want to put it in a different context, we're talking about the ethical concerns about this tool. So, artificial intelligence tools, we know it can transform the learning experience across all age groups. However, the developmental stage of the learner significantly affects how AI is applied. Looking at the early childhood, we're talking about age of 3 to 7. The advantages of using AI tool relies first of all in having interactive and engaging learning experience by making the early learning more interactive and visual to enhance the foundational skills like literacy and numeracy. The tools can provide also consistent pronunciation, grammar correction, and multilingual instruction tailored to early learners, which will support the language development. We need to mention that AI can help identify early signs of developmental delays or learning difficulties, enabling early intervention. What are the ethical concerns or disadvantages when we talk about the early childhood? Number one, we need to talk about screen time. Young children benefit most from human interaction. So, excessive AI use may hinder the social and emotional development. Second one, which is the privacy concerns. Collecting data from very young users poses significant risks, especially if parents are not fully informed. Third one, which is the informed consent. Children cannot provide consent at that age. Thus, ethical use demands that parents are clearly informed and involved when it comes to the usage of AI by their children. And the last one, which is the lack of human distinction. AI lacks the emotional intelligence required to support young children's socio-emotional growth. So, when we talk about the early childhood, the disadvantages are more focused on the social and emotional development and the socio-emotional growth, which we need to be very much aware of as educators, as parents, when we are using the AI tools at that age group. Moving to the elementary students, and here we're talking about the ages of 8 to 12. The main three advantages of AI tools are number one, having personalized learning paths. As we know, AI adapt to individual learning speeds and styles, helping students to stay engaged and challenged. Also, the gamified learning, because the AI tools can motivate students and enhance retention of key concepts using the gamify education aspect. Third one, which is supporting students who have different needs. AI can assist students with learning disabilities or non-native language backgrounds through translation, speech recognition, and reading assistance. The disadvantages or the ethical concerns are mainly four. The first one is the digital inequality. Unequal access to AI tools may widen achievement gaps if not clearly managed at this group. Biased algorithms. AI trained on limited data sets may inadvertently disadvantage certain students, particularly those from marginalized community. Third one, which is data collection. Even anonymized data collection at this age must be handled with utmost transparency and strong safeguards. Last but not least, which is the dependence on automation. Students might rely too heavily on AI feedback rather than developing critical thinking or problem solving skills, which will affect their next levels in education. Moving into the middle and high school students, we're talking about ages of 13 to 18. We have mainly three advantages for them when using AI tools at this level. Number one, having advanced personalization. AI can support deeper academic exploration, help prepare for exams, and identify career interests through adaptive learning tools. Immediate feedback. Students benefit from instant grading suggestions and analytics on strengths and weaknesses, which will allow them to enhance and improve on their next assignment or assessment trial. Time management tools. AI-driven planners can help students manage their homeworks, their learning tasks, extracurricular activities, and test prep more effectively at this age. The disadvantages or the ethical concerns. Number one is the academic integrity risks. Students may misuse AI tools for plagiarism or cheating, specifically when it comes to the stressful external international benchmark assessment. Data profiling. Sophisticated analytics might create academic profiles that follow students in ways they do not understand or consent to. That's why we need to raise their awareness about the data profiling. Third one, the mental health impact. AI that promotes competition or performance metrics without human support can increase anxiety or reduce intrinsic motivation. Last but not least, bias and unfairness. Biased algorithmic recommendations can perpetuate stereotypes or limit opportunities for our middle or high school students. Talking about the post secondary students, the advantages are massive. Mainly, we will talk about three. The first one about research and writing assignments. AI can enhance productivity through citation tools, through brainstorming help, and writing support. Career paths. AI platforms can suggest courses, internships, and job paths based on students' interests and preference. Last but not least, self-paced learning. Higher education students benefit from intelligent tutoring systems and open online courses that allow for flexible learning. Disadvantages or ethical concerns. Number one is the data monetization risks. Institutions or platforms may misuse student data for commercial gain without clear consent, especially those who claim to support in guiding students for their international studies. The second one, which is bias in decision making. AI used in admissions or academic evaluations may reinforce inequality if not audited for fairness. Third one, autonomy and dependence. Students may rely too heavily on AI for academic tasks, losing the opportunity to develop independent thinking and original analysis. Last but not least, transparency and accountability. Students should be aware when AI influences assessments, recommendations, or grading, so by then they can reduce the trust. What we need to make sure that we are looking at when we are considering the AI tools across different age groups are transparency, equity, and data protection. As a conclusion, AI can be a powerful ally in education across all age groups, but only when used with care, equity, and transparency. Age appropriate applications must consider the cognitive, emotional, and social development of learners while upholding ethical standards. So, when implemented responsibly, AI not only maximizes academic progress but also builds trust and nurtures lifelong learning. As AI tools rapidly become part of everyday learning, it's clear that their role in education is both powerful and complex. To unlock the full potential of these technologies, we must uphold strong academic honesty policies, not as restrictions, but as guiding principles that ensure fairness, responsibility, and trust in the learning process. Teachers are at the heart of this transformation. Their role is not just to deliver content, but to mentor students in how to use AI ethically, encouraging curiosity while reinforcing the values of integrity, effort, and critical thinking. Students too carry responsibility. They must learn to see AI not as a shortcut but as a supportive tool, a partner in learning, not a replacement for it. When used wisely, AI offers immense advantages. The benefits and risks vary by age, from early learners needing human interaction to teens managing complex ethical decisions and academic pressure. That's why it's essential to involve all stakeholders, especially parents. Awareness sessions help parents and stakeholders to understand how AI works, what ethical use looks like, and how to support learning at home. Ultimately, AI can be a force for good in education. It can personalize learning in ways we have never seen before, helping every student to thrive. But to get there, we must lead with integrity, teach with empathy, and encourage with transparency. So let's work together, educators, families, and students, to ensure AI serves learning, not shortcuts it. The future of education is not just about technology, it's about using it ethically, equitably, and wisely. Thank you so much for watching this video. And from this week onward, our focus will be on promoting AI tools in an ethical, equitable, and wise manner. Stay tuned and check our weekly videos posted every Thursday on the channel. Thank you.